Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now in this video I am going to be talking to you guys about social media in Nigeria, its impact so far and what that impact portends for the future. So the social media in Nigeria, its impact so far, and what that platform, what that outlet portends for Nigeria for the future. Now, a while ago, I did a video on social media in Nigeria. Then I discussed with you guys the numbers of people registered for internet usage in Nigeria. So there are 111 million people, over 111 million people registered for internet usage in Nigeria. Now, the average Nigerian uses his mobile phone to access the internet. So the primary function of the mobile phone for the average Nigerian is for communication. So it's for them to send and receive text, to make and receive calls, which is the primary function of a mobile phone. So now the average Nigerian has now gone beyond that primary function of the mobile phone as a means of communication to access what other facilities that the mobile phone can provide. And the facility that they're accessing is online. And that is very significant, because what that then tells you, one, is there's an upgrade in the sophistication of how the Nigerian is using his communication gadget. And two, there's an appetite for an international, a global experience. So the average Nigerian wants to be part of the conversation that is going on within Nigeria, and that conversation can only really be immediately accessed, independently accessed also via the internet. So the average Nigerian understands that for them to get really to the source of the information that they need to bypass the traditional mainstream media and go to the alternate media, which is not so much alternate now because it's really more mainstream now, and that alternate media being the internet. So they are now paying subscription fees to sign up for internet usage. And if you think 111 million Nigerians are signed up, that is really over half the population of the country. So that tells you that the thirst is there. The thirst for international participation is there, because the internet not only provides the Nigerian with access to the four corners of their country from the comforts of their home, it also provides them access to the whole world. It's a World Wide Web. So it's a worldwide thing. So it gives them access to both what is going on all around their country, and then all around their continent rather, and then obviously by extension the whole of the world as well. And really this is very interesting, because Nigeria is a unique and a very peculiar country, and everybody identifies that country for that. It's one of the most educated countries on the planet. It is one of the most vibrant countries on the planet. It is one of the most forward-thrusting countries on the planet, and it's one of the most ambitious countries on the planet. It's one of the most innovative. It is one of the most entrepreneurial. It is one of the most everything, and all of these attributes are vested within the people as opposed to within the government. And in contrast to the Nigerian system being one of the most corrupt, the Nigerian people as individuals are one of the most innovative, and the rest of the world recognizes this attribute within the Nigerian. Because if you look at the traffic to Nigeria by a lot of the big players in the international scene, it will immediately trigger you that something really is going on. So we've had people like Mark Zuckerberg, or is it Zuckerberg, the Facebook guy, constantly traveling to Nigeria. We've had Bill Gates obviously always traveling to and talking about Nigeria. We had the French president, and by the way, I said French president, so the French president, France, has a large African colony that they still effectively colonize till date, because all the francophone countries still have all of their monies in the banks, in the French central bank, so they effectively still control those countries. So the French president, leaving aside his own French Africa, went to Nigeria, and then when he got to Nigeria, he left aside the government and he went directly to the shrine, Fela Kuti's shrine, to engage with the Nigerian youth. So all of the international community, all of the thinking in the international community identifies the activity that is going on in Nigeria, and it's very difficult to ignore these activities that is going on in Nigeria, because a lot of the Nigerians that have traveled are out of the country. Their performance has been such that it has brought them close to the corridors of thinking in the international community. So all of the top doctors a lot of them are Nigerians, top lawyers Nigerians, accountants, engineers. We all know this story. So all of the Nigerians, not all of the Nigerians, but a good number, a significant amount of Nigerians living diasporally have put in such a performance that has to trigger the senses of the international community that there's a special frisson within the Nigerian makeup that needs to be identified, quantified, and tapped into. And this is really why we are having all that other traffic going to Nigeria. So now, the Nigerian social media and the rest of the world. So the Nigerian social media and the rest of the world. So we want that access. We are ready for that access, and the figures identifies the fact that we are wanting and ready for that access. So now the next thing that needs to happen is to have a freer and a fairly unfettered access. So what do I mean by a freer? Because obviously it's not ever going to be completely free. You have to pay something. But a freer and an unfettered access. What I mean by a freer and an unfettered access is all this the thing of all these communication companies using all these pockets of data to milk the Nigerian masses. This has to be looked into. They have to be able to create a system that enables the average Nigerian to access the internet as much as it would like for a token price or a minimal cost, because the benefits and the business opportunities and what incomes that would attract into the Nigerian system far outweighs the amount of monies that these communication companies, these outlets that are providing access, are charging Nigerians. So what I am effectively saying is, if you are, for instance, paying, I'm just using this as an example, by the way, just really a random example, so please don't hold me to task for this. So let's say, for instance, you are paying like 1,000 naira for 10 minutes usage of the internet. Now that 1,000 naira for 10 minutes usage of the internet, it prevents you from being able to use the internet in full, because it doesn't allow you to peruse the things that you need to peruse, to get the ideas that you need to get into your head to evolve your thinking, so you are able to also create and contribute to the global discussions or the discussions going on within Nigeria. So the restrictions are there. I mean, my videos, for instance, my videos go on for about a good 20 minutes. The average Nigerian will probably bulk at that. But if you then had that 1,000 naira as a flat fee that gives you unfettered access for, let's say, a week. So for a week, for 1,000 naira, you can use as much internet as you like for a week. Then that frees up the Nigerian person to explore the internet more, to create for the internet more, to see the internet as a business opportunity more, and then to create business within the internet more. And the business of the internet, of course, it is international, so it enables the Nigerian to connect with the rest of the world more and to access the fund that is globally available. So really, this is something that needs to be explored. And I think this is where the exploration is really, because if you look at the sort of people that are going to Nigeria, that is really what they're going to look at. Where is the difficulty of access for this great nation to the rest of the world? Because a lot of these people, a lot of the international thinkers, they have abandoned the Nigerian government completely, because they dismiss them as a hopeless bunch. And I think the rest of Nigeria is agreed with them on that, because if you take PDP or APC, replace Buhari with Atiku, and it's still the same person there, it's still the same roundabout, and the same looting will still continue, so nothing will change. So now what they're trying to do is to bypass the Nigerian system to access the Nigerian masses and then help them come from under the repression of the regimes that continue to hold them back, to access the international community and free themselves to the world. So, and that freedom to the world has to come via social media, it has to come via internet access, and it has to come via an access to the international community, because Nigerians are international people. Nigerians, there's no Nigerian that thinks within an African concept. The Nigerian does not see himself as an African. The Nigerian sees himself as a Nigerian participant in the global experience, because Nigeria do not really look to Africa. When a Nigeria speaks of an African country, they always use like the word like ordinary or common. They say, even look at common Ghana, they have electricity. Look at common Cameroon, they have this and that. Look at common Ghana, they build the airport. Look at common Togo. Look at ordinary Benin Republic. So they always qualify it with a disparaging term, because they do not really see themselves within the context of these people. They see themselves as international people, and the makeup of the Nigerian is international. So the access that the Nigerian has to have is to that international fora where he wants to participate, and that access has to come via social media. And the Nigerian has already indicated that is the direction that he wants to follow, because if 111 million people are registered to have internet access, then that tells you that the appetite is for that international access. So how you then enable them to access that international arena, so that they can come there and vest themselves and compete against their peers in South America, Europe, etc., Asia, etc. If you want to go mathematics, the Nigerian will go mathematics with you toe to toe. If you want to go English, we'll go English with you toe to toe. If you want to go creativity, we'll go creativity with you toe to toe. If you want to go anything, the Nigerian will go anything with you toe to toe, and they will beat you. But really, for us to beat them internationally, we first have to have access to where the fight is taking place, and the fight is taking place online. So really, the leap now for Nigeria is not this fighting corruption, and the corruption is there's not all this nonsensical idiocy that we are hearing from the government and the government officials. The real battle line for Nigeria is access to an international experience, and that international experience does not necessarily mean you get on the plane and then you escape to some Western country and you start living like some sort of illegal person there. No, it's being able to sit in your room in Umuahia, or in your parlor in Jalingo, or in your flat in Abuja, or in your courtyard, you are laughing, and spark up your laptop, throw out an idea to the international community, and that idea then gets you earning. The Nigerian has the capacity for that, but what is preventing that capacity to that earning is access. So really, this is where the play is, this is where my contention is, and this is where I feel the battle line should be. So now my voice is going, so I'll round off this video here. Let me know what your thoughts are. Conversation takes place in the comment section on this channel, so we have that conversation there. So I'll leave you here, meet you there, and I'll say peace.